searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah,
All right, after taking a week off from the holidays, getting ready for Christmas time now, we're back and ready to finish it out. The last two races of the Sim500 NC811 Cup Series season as we right now, and thankfully he's gotten two of them back since last week. But we're going to get through it. Kevin's here with me. Kevin England, fresh off a great weekend, I guess, of racing at Wall Stadium that Kevin got to be a part of there. I think Anthony Calantoni was there, a bunch of others. A very interesting stadium. It's the first time I've ever seen laps ran there was on Twitter, just going through the searches and seeing some of the action there. It was a pretty interesting looking racetrack, to say the least, but we'll talk about that later. Right now, we're here at the Iowa Speedway as we get ready to go racing. Now, it's been a week since we've been here, and the last time we were on track was back at the, trying to remember correctly here, was it Vegas? No, we're at Vegas next week. I've just lost track where we were a week ago, but I do have the results of that race, and we'll show that here in a second, and get the point standings and so much here for you. But first, we're going to qualify for this race. And Kevin, this track, I've been hearing a lot of drivers talk a little bit about the turns on older tires because, or on newer tires, I should say, because if the tires aren't up to temp yet, these cars want to spin out.
Yeah, to say this track has a lot of character is an understatement. The front stretch is not straight as a straightaway. There are bumps down on the bottom, there are bumps up in the top, and the middle groove is not so smooth. The car just does not want to turn here with this setup. If you remember, this racetrack was not one that these type of cars ever raced on. So the setup that they're using here is one that came with the Sim, and it's been tweaked a little bit here and there, but I'm telling you, it's a handful to drive. We drove it last week, and every single driver, no matter who they were from stem to stern, was out of control. And so they did a little tweaking on the setup, and hearing the setup is a little bit better, but I could see by practice that these guys, they're going to be up on the wheel here tonight.
Yeah, Homestead Miami Speedway, by the way, is where they were last week. And, yeah, they did some tweaking. Apparently, the GOAT race Thursday night, everybody but Santa Claus spun out, apparently. In their races, Tyler Dalton goes to the top, surprisingly, with a pretty good lap there to put him on the pole. Give me a second here. I'm just updating the timing and scoring for you here as course qualifying presented by 811. Know it's below. Call before you dig. And let's see, Dalton Comstock. Should update here in a second. Come on. This is like the one time every week I have where like everything overlaps each other and then it will just update itself and fix itself. But then I don't want to do that right now, apparently. But Mojica second, Comstock third, Glenn Campbell fourth, and then Doy Woods in the fifth position. Seeing a lot of cars going different lanes. The guy I do want to watch, if he comes out here and runs a lap, is going to be Jose Gonzalez. He went out late in practice and put up his fastest lap, which, I mean, that's almost impossible to do, especially when the track wears in and stuff.
Yeah, and track temperatures change and so on. But I was watching Josh Parker, and he was running like a man with no abandon. He's not one to qualify, so I wonder if he's going to come out here and make an attempt. But he was running as close as you can on the edge, trying to find speed in this racetrack.
Here's Jose right now. So he'll come off turn 4, take the green flag here. There we go. So 24.05 for Dalton to 24.07 for Mojica. Simley's into purple right now, coming down the back straightaway. And now Gonzalez goes purple. Mike Kelly's purple. Everybody's purple.
Little loose off of turn 4 for Simley. Might have scrubbed a skosh off of that, but a pretty decent lap for him.
Gonzalez 24.36 on lap 1, nowhere near. He got in very wide in turn 3 and then cut it down in the middle. I thought that was a very unorthodox line for him. So I don't know if he was throwing away that first lap or not.
Out of turn 4, he is on the wheel. Little wiggle in the steering.
That's to be expected. Transition to banking. It's going to be close. No way. 24-21. So nowhere close to the pole for Jose. And it seemed like both times in Sector 2 is where he lost out on it.
Yeah, Cal and Tony out there trying to put in a lap. Well, let's see where the 84 lands. 24.413 for the first one.
He straddled right across that bottom line. That's going to get him real free off the corner. You saw that. Jumps to third, 24.10. It's a good lap for AC84 there. So the thing about this track is the transitions on them are tricky, especially on these newer tires. We're going to talk about this if we get restarts here tonight and that kind of thing. The way you transition off of turn 2, I've seen races here at this track that I've broadcasted that people that never spin out on their own because of just the way a car drives off the corner or the way you go over a transition, or because you got to remember this is multiple degrees of banking. It's I believe it is 12 to 15 if I remember correctly off the top of my head. It's either 12 to 15 or 9 to 12 or something like that in the corners. So it's very tricky basically coming through those corners.
Yeah, you're really just trying to float the car in, get it through the center, and drive off to carry speed because you're in the corner so long. You're turning on the front straightaway, and as much as you can carry speed out of the corner is where you make it. What'll be interesting is where will they be? Will they be on the bottom line? Will they be on the top line? Are they going to run up against the fence? You could do that here. Tire wear plays a factor from that perspective too. And how many do we think we're going to see miss pit road and go down the drag strip, down the front stretch inside the grass?
That might happen, especially if we get green flag pit stops here. So that's very good points. 12 to 14. To answer my own question, I went and looked real quickly. Let's take a look at the point standings entering tonight. It is the Pedro Mojica show. As we have seen throughout the playoffs and throughout the regular season, Chad Coleman holding on by a thread literally right now. Tyler Dalton and Josh Parker, David Comstock, your top 5. But with what I'm seeing, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, we got about 21 cars, I think 22 cars. So basically right now, only 2 drivers could leave with the point lead, and that being Mojica or Coleman when this thing is over with here tonight. So obviously things can change. Look at the battle down here in the bottom portion. Mike Kelly, Nelson Rivera, Joe Hudson, Joey Jatina, all right within 10 points of each other, 10 to 15 points. So there's still some positions to be gained. But the guy to beat right now, of course, is Pedro Mojica. And right now, I hate to say this, the only thing that might beat him is himself or his computer. That's the only 2 things I can think of right now. So, but last week's results real quickly. Let's go back and look at that. Josh Parker winning at Homestead Miami Speedway last week over Mojica, Dalton, Donaldson, Chad Coleman, Ryan Gonzalez, Montesi, Kelly, and Seth Fowdy getting a top 10. That, of course, was ran the week before Thanksgiving. So that's the last time we were on track in this series. So to get everything set up here for the race. So let's take a look at the starting lineup, if you will. And apparently I did not edit out the... I sometimes will find myself trying to edit things in my timing and scoring, and I screwed something up, apparently. So give me a second. I'll pull the grid up.
Well, Dalton's on the pole,
Yeah,
Mojica to the outside. Cal and Tony is starting 3rd with Comstock starting 4th. 5th row made up of Glenn Campbell and Doy Woods in the number 28, Scott Simley and Chad Coleman, 7th and 8th respectively. And it will be Jose Gonzalez and Wesley Donaldson rounding out your top 10 here for the start. Joey G, 14 is in the 11th spot. To take the green on his outside is Mike Montesi in the 6th. Stoney Benfield starts lucky 13th, and to his outside, the 22 of Nelson Rivera. Joe Hudson in the 51, going to start 15th. Last car to take time was Tommy Ryan, starting 16th, 17th starting spot tonight for Josh Parker, one of the contenders. And to his outside is the number 2 of Mike Kelly, starting 18th. 19th tonight for Randy Yoakum. Good to see him back. Doug Sigmund in the 04 starts 20th. And the final row made up of the 74, Brian Wertman, with Gerald Livingston in the 96, starting 22nd and shotgun on the field.
There you go. Appreciate your help there, Kev, as unfortunately that graphic is way too small. You need a magnifying glass almost to see it. But race information tonight, 180 laps, 78 degrees, usual iRacing default weather around this nearly 1 mile track, 101 degree track temperature. It is only going to get hotter, and so is the action, as we have 2 races left before we crown a champion. Tyler Dalton takes the top side, blinks out a little bit, and brings them to the green flag here at the Iowa Speedway as we come back after Thanksgiving time off with the family. And we're back with the racing family.
Cars head into turn 1 for the first time side by side through there. A lot of those drivers down on the bottom can use the grip and lack of speed because they're coming up to speed to get around that corner, but the top line seems to prevail as Tyler Dalton jumping out front out of turn number 4. He's going to lead him back to the stripe with Pedro running second, still side by side back there for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and so on, with Wesley Donaldson giving chase to the high side of Chad Coleman early on.
Yeah, as you see Coleman down there on the bottom side, Doy Woods top side, Wesley Donaldson, he's battling an illness, by the way, out there too, of his own, trying to get out there and get his way through the race. So obviously good to see him out here, but hopefully he feels better here sooner rather than later. But
Gonna keep an eye on the 81 OzTooling.com Ford Mustang of Josh Parker running back there in the 16th position. Want to see how fast he can move through and how stable his car is, because starting from the back there, Chris, I'm suspecting that he's going to have to hustle that car a little bit, and we'll find out what the handling characteristics. Keep an eye on the 81 and the number 2 of Mike Kelly in front of him as they charge through the field.
Yeah, definitely not the easiest moves to be made, especially here through the field, but especially in a race that you probably expect to have a green flag look to it. It's going to be tough to pass, especially the older you get, the older tires get in the field, the harder it's going to be. As we watch the battle, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, going to try to keep the battle box up there for you when these kind of battles happen, so you can see who's a part of it and where they are relative on track. Kind of like what we see when we're in the cars, basically a relative, if you will, over to the right side of the screen.
Yeah, thinking about this setup, we know that the one that they ran last Thursday in anticipation of this race, the springs were so hard the car would not get off the bumps properly, and it just wouldn't hook up. It felt like you were racing on ice, and the car, every single time you tried to put that throttle down, you could not get the drive off of the corner. So I suspect that whatever they did to tweak the setup is going to be something to do with the springs and trying to get the car to soften up a little bit. One of the things we've seen in the last couple of weeks with some of the setups that we come is the left rear wears, which is really strange to think about from a tire wear standpoint. And I believe this track was one of those racetracks that left rear is a bit of a challenge, as we want to watch the trouble spots. Out of turn 2, down low through the bumps, pick up the throttle, the car porpoises sometimes and gets unsettled. Also, if you're tight down to that yellow line on exit in turn 4 and you get on that throttle a little too hard, the car will jump out. We see drivers slide sideways and then the car catches and it hangs it due right into the outside barrier. If somebody's to the outside, everybody's going to go through the spin cycle. So something to keep an eye on as I'm watching Doy Woods loose off of turn 2 to the backstretch. He's got a little pressure there from Mike Montesi. And here comes Josh Parker. He's painting that yellow line and making a lot of speed.
Got some Bob Ross going on there inside of Jose Gonzalez making a pass there. 4 positions you ride with Montesi here in the 6th car following Doy Woods there. And you, I mean, speaking of painting, you painted a perfect picture there of what you don't want to do around this track because, yeah, the transitions, the tight looseness you can get, and then that easily trying to overcorrect the car back after almost spinning out and getting that grip and then bam into the outside wall. So easy to do at this track, especially off the corners. But of course, the bump in 1 and 2, that's another big factor you got to watch out for. There's an actual bump now at 3 and 4 that's on this track you got to be careful of. But 1 and 2 might be the most vicious bump in all of iRacing.
Especially on the outside, is almost 4 wide here. Coming off
geez.
Mike Montesi loose, slides down, catches the apron. There you go. That's that conversation. Good hands there. He kept that thing pointed in the right direction as he had a handful coming off the corner. Josh Parker, looking out the windshield at that, just kept his composure, kept himself in the throttle, and no harm, no foul. We live to race another day here.
As Tyler Dalton's pulled away to a 1-second lead over Mojica, Comstock, Galantoni, and Campbell and Coleman, the 4 C's, 3rd through 6th. And then Simley Donaldson, Ryan Jatina in the top 10 here. Let's go see.
I have to believe that Tyler Dalton has 2 things going on. One, he loves the clean air. He's got all the pressure on the nose that he needs for the car. He can turn it in. It's going to have the most grip of anybody in the field. The other thing is he's burning fuel if he's up there. And I have to wonder to what factor these guys are shifting here at this racetrack. As the run goes on and you wear the tires, the car doesn't turn, it wants to push. You start to slow down and back the corner up, which drags the RPMs down, and some drivers may drop it down a gear in order to get that drive off. So I think we're going to see a little bit of everything here tonight at the Iowa Speedway.
Well, as we go on board with Dalton, you saw the replay there as Kevin was talking about it. The Montesi save, just simply coming off the bottom on the bottom of the corner there, and just lost the back end and had to lock the brake up there to keep it from finishing him off. But Dalton, 5th gear, looks like all the way around the track right now. Obviously, that could change in the long run.
Yeah, and you could tell by watching that orange line as the steering. You know, typically you run the car with a little bit of negative turn in the wheel so that when you're in the corner, the orange line is straight up and down some. And he is sawing on the wheel there a little bit. And that's not him being a bad driver. That's just the way it is at this racetrack. As you go through those bumps, so you can see how much the car moves around as he went through turns 1 and 2. He's holding a pretty wheel, but even with a good handle in race car like he's got at the moment, you're putting a lot of wheel in it, and as you come off the corner, you're constantly just kind of scrubbing back and forth trying to find the grip and correct, and that's going to get worse and worse and more exaggerated as this run goes on.
Yeah, it looks like the more he's on the throttle, the more loose you're seeing that car. Obviously, tight center right there, goes over the bump, and you see he puts the most wheel in after the bump. That's the tricky part about that turn 1 and 2 area. I've talked about this. It used to be like this at the old Texas. But you go into the corner, you turn the wheel, and you got to be patient before you hit the throttle. You want to do it after you go over the bump in turn 1 and 2. When you do that, cut the wheel at that point. Watch here. His wheel's not too turned, not too much. Comes back straight a little bit, and then really forces it. He actually did a little different that time, of course, as I talk about it. Now, Chad,
yeah,
go.
One other tool that they have in the toolbox is the ability to drag the brake a little bit. And if you set the brake bias correctly, it makes the car hook left and actually steers the car into the corner without having to use the wheel.
Now we're on board with Chad Coleman, so let's see if anything different here on his end. Chad, usually a very patient racer, shows up towards the end of the race, but right now in the 6th position, trailing the 44 of Glenn Campbell.
Yeah, steady Eddie. That looks like a pretty good wheel to me. It's not, little back and forth juke here and there, but for the most part, you want to make speed. This is how you do it. You just smooth in, smooth off, not sliding the car around, straight on exit. Let the car come all the way out to the fence. Don't scrub the tires on exit or entry. This is how you make speed and how these guys are so fast.
So it's funny. We showed you Tyler. We showed you Chad Coleman. Let's go check Parker out. This is usually a whole nother monster here. Yeah, pretty smooth so far. Cuts down.
They put a lot of wheel in that corner, just trying to get the car to turn.
A little dirty air. They're going to fight it. Might get a little spot here on Rivera. Rivera gives it to him. Usually those ones that drive aggressive, those are going to be the ones you're going to see. Look at that. Hey, sliding her off the corner there a little bit.
That's where you want to hustle to make sure you finish the pass. You don't want somebody alongside of you because you really want to be able to put the throttle in and start working on the car in front of you.
You know, Josh Parker right now, fifth position, or fifth gear, or I should say 12th position right now. I was looking at his gear, or his display telemetry and stuff. So 23 laps already complete. Dalton has led them all here in this race. And I want to jump back here to the 17th position as Barbara Hawkins jumps into chat here tonight, saying hello to Stony Benfield. So during the holiday, I took a trip to see family down in Tennessee and stuff because, as I've stated many times, I've been up in Indiana now and family's in Georgia, so we met up Dollywood, had some fun. So I can at best say I had the second best trip out of everyone. The one who likely had the best trip was that guy right there, Stony Benfield, who during the off week actually went down to Ecuador to do a trip. Basically went down there with his on a mission trip, if you will, with some pastors and pastors' wives and stuff, and it shows you the good person that Stony is and what he does for the people there. So good to see Stony making it down there safely and back, and hopefully maybe changing the lives of some people there. But of course, Stony, a big part of this league and a big supporter, of course, of 811. That's what's on the car, and so on and so forth. So I just want to give Stony a big shout out and a great job on his part. And running 17th right now, so back in the race car. I wonder if he did any iRacing selling down there.
Yeah, it's part of the culture. It was interesting. We were talking about Turkey Derby in the opening, and
Right.
following Kyle Taraska, who raced with us here and there and has turned his attention to real racing, but you know, just wandering around and talking to people.
Calantoni saved it. He went for the infield. Almost dropped the hot pocket over there in the infield, but he caught it, and going to lose a couple spots, but he'll recover to the 5th position now.
Yeah, he was talking to some Giants there.
Yeah.
Congrats to the Giants on the win, right? They won this weekend.
Absolutely. Congrats to them.
But just saying, you know, when you wander around a real racetrack and you start mentioning iRacing or wherever you go, people know about it. It's really kind of cool to talk about the sim and the community and so on, and especially if you go to a racetrack. There's a lot of people in the fold that know about iRacing, have tried it, enjoy it, and glad to see Sony back with us. And, you know, you have to say for those drivers who don't get to make every race or just come out on occasion, I love that they support the series. They're the fabric of it. And, you know, how many times do we think about the NASCAR world and the independents that came out, and when they have a great run, you cheer for them just as hard as anybody else. And
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And no look now, but we got the battle at the lead. Lap 30. Dalton has been reeled back in by Mojica. And Pedro's going to be patient here because the one strategy we do got to bring up here that was brought up during practice, somebody mentioned it, and obviously you can't help but wonder, 1 or 2 stops. I think it's a great question. And for me,
that just deserves a pause because you, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, trust me. When you hear me pausing, it's because I'm either clearing my throat or something. Yeah, and you just don't. I don't want to put it over the air.
Let
obviously,
me clear my throat.
Good song. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, anyways, so basically, a majority of the races we've seen this year at Sim500, the one stopper is one. So my mindset says go get the one stopper, pit the least amount of times as possible. Tonight, my answer is do what Pedro doesn't do.
Yeah.
I think I said that once. Yeah, I think I said that once in a race earlier this year. And well, what happened? Caution came out. Yada yada yada. Not that
that was my sense of it. Right? Is you could take the alternate pit strategy, and if you get the right caution brake, maybe that puts you in the catbird seat as they're side by side out of 2. Pedro is starting to draw ahead on the backstretch. Dalton has not given it up. Pedro drives deep into turn 3. He's got a half a car width over Tyler is charging hard to the outside. He's not going to make it easy.
No.
He leads the lap. Pedro going to drive it deep into turn one. More committed this time.
Back in that bottom.
Those
Sticks.
bumps. Holy cow.
Car stuck.
Got a little more speed that time out of it, and I think this time through turn three, he's going to check the box. P1, number 58, the Trans-Service Camaro for Pedro.
Yeah. There's the car. Oh, what we got in front? There's smoke. Looks like somebody went spinning over in turn one there, but I don't know who it was. I know Montesi's taking his car behind the wall. He was having all types of issues before the race even started. Poor guy. So the lead is settled. So Mohican takes the lead over Dalton back here. A couple of friends.
That was Mr. Calantoni doing a pirouette. He came off of turn 4, missed it while we were watching that lead. Car did a hospital swallow there. Did a full 360 down there on the apron. A swaddle.
A swaddle. Oh, okay. It's like,
wrapped it like a baby blanket down there. Wow.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Exciting.
That's twice now Calantoni's done that.
And because he was down on the apron and grabbed the gear and drove away.
No caution.
Yeah, how about that? That's exactly what we were talking about. And that takes him from 6th to 18th. But he's still going forward. So in that perspective, I guess he's okay here. Live to fight another day. A lot of times in that wobble back up to the racetrack, like we said, you end up going right and out into the outside wall. Just about short of the start finish line for him.
Parker!
There goes
Saves
Parker. This is what we thought we were going to see.
That's a product right there of Iowa Speedway. Parker got tight, slid right up, and got into the car on his outside and went around almost. Good save on his part. And now he's going to go back and have to repass these cars again.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he thought maybe the two came down on him and he flinched. Hard to say there.
It's so easy to do this at this track, what he just did.
Wait, let me clean that up.
Well, you know
when
what?
When you come off the corner, you think the 2 is going to go all the way out to the fence, but that doesn't necessarily. His line, Mike Kelly, can do whatever he wants to do because he may not even known that the 81 was making a run down there.
You're onto something here because the first part, as I'm watching the replay here, the 2 gets loose up here coming off the corner. And I think that causes him to be a little lower than expected. And Parker comes up to him.
Parker could have cleaned him out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, again, the drivers sitting in the seat know what happened there. That's a good catch. Good catch to see Mike loose. But that's also one of those byproducts of when the car comes up, you expect that driver's going to take every inch and go out to the outside fence. And sometimes they don't.
As we watch along.
I know one.
Okay. Go ahead.
Josh Parker, he had to make those tires angry, right? It's a stupid thing the drivers say, but I don't think that he's going to have Johnny Hustle in those tires for a couple laps until he lets them cool off. So he's just going to have to ride right now in the 13th position. He was coming, of course, as usual.
Scott Simley, as per usual, is doing something weird. And I say that from the standpoint of, look what groove he's running. You're not supposed to be able to run up here in Iowa.
Yeah, you don't want to get above that little seam. You go a little bit further and you hit that cliff.
I mean, like I said, the bump in 1 and 2 is vicious. It's worse the higher up you get. And that bump's there, by the way, because of the tunnel. And one thing we've always said when we race, it's like you never go up there in 1 and 2 because it almost puts you in the wall. He's doing a good job, though, of there's the bump. I mean, he's just trying to get up there in that fresh pavement. There goes the 91 by. Donaldson makes the pass.
So another observation along that same line is the 99 has been up there since the beginning of the race. And to the point where you're going to run to halfway, that is a way to save tires. You use more fuel up there, but you want to be, and if you look at the seams on the racetrack, You want to be between the second and third seam. Never get above that into the fourth seam, or you're going to hit that massive bump over in turn 1 and 2. In turn 3 and 4, you can run in between 3 and 4 seam and 4 straddle it. You really don't want to get up close to the fence, although some drivers can do it a la Kyle Larson style.
Yeah, no kidding.
And they talk about how tire wear affects the car on the long run. That is a way for some drivers, depending on how they drive the car into the corner, to save a little tire. And then on the long run, all of a sudden, you get one of those "where did they come from" moments where they just turn up the juice. And it's a lot like Cole Trickle. They're not, you know what I'm going to say, right? I'm going save speed, they're going slower, right? One of those moments.
No, he's right. Joey Jettina on pit road. Unscheduled pit stop, maybe?
Well, is he one of those ones that's going to do a 3?
You know what? His car's clean, so I could see him doing two. Well, yeah, if you're going to do a two-stopper, this is early. I mean, lap 50, you coming at 100 then?
Well, why would you not split it? You know, if you run the car hard on the outset and you use the tires up, then you could split the difference, and I like it.
No, I like the difference.
You know, you're going to make it 2 laps down, yes? Pretty
just
sure you lose 2 laps here.
think it's too early. I see.
Well, this is where we have that discussion, Chris, about lap times, right? 25.593 for your Lido, Pedro, and the fastest lap is a 24.36.
Right.
So you can almost be 2 seconds faster on fresh tires.
My question is, why not come at 60 though, where you then 61.20?
It could be you ran the goodie off too early, and now you're going to give it back on the other runs.
That's fair.
Or you're waiting for cautions or whatever. They got 4 sets of tires, right? So you run it hard and hope that there's a caution somewhere, and if they are, yeah, maybe you get it. Right now, Joey is 1 lap down, so we'll see where that nets out for him.
Now, Tommy Ryan, by the way, for those who have not seen, this guy here on worn-out surfaces this season has been almost untouchable. Now, I've gone back and looked at some of the standings. Of course, Kevin DeBrown won this race back in the spring. But, you know, you go to Richmond, you go to some of those kind of tracks that have this worn-out surface. Remember, Iowa's not been touched from the time it's been built in 2009. And Tommy, on the long runs, just has something in that car that none of us could figure out. Like, he won't tell us either. But the dude goes up and just takes positions. He's up 13 spots now to third. And he's 4.5 seconds back from the lead. And I would be daring to say that he'll be with the leaders close to the pit stops, if not the second round of pit stops.
Yeah, it's the juice.
It's something.
It's the magic genie juice. Yeah, and that's what I said. Joey Jettina around in turn 4, yellow.
Well, you want the caution. You don't want it to be you, though.
Well, what he's got to do is, and he did, stay on that lap. So he's the lucky dog, and he's the only one.
He will not be the lucky dog.
dog.
He will not be the lucky dog.
Right, because he brought the caution.
Right.
But at least for him,
he's the only car
he
lap
didn't
down.
get lapped because the leader was behind him, but he had enough cushion that he wasn't going to get past in the process. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this, as they say, changes everything.
This will bring the leaders to pit road. We'll show you the replay here in a second. He was on newer tires, so you wonder if the whole new tire spin around deal happened that we talked about a little bit ago.
I think maybe he was just low, and when he picked up the throttle, we talked about how loose the car is. No, he was loose going in. He was loose going out. I would attribute that one to cold tires.
Four-wheel slide, boys. Four-wheel slide.
Smile or not, boys. Smile or not. Well, here they come. Feeding time at the zoo. This is good for the 14 of Calantoni because he was so far off the pace, and with that spin, he had some worn tires. Let's see if this first position is going to pay dividends for Tyler Dalton. Would he go 2 tires?
Joe Hudson wins the race off pit road with something. Joe Hudson did not pit. He went through his pit stall. Pedro going to win the race off pit road. It's going to be close between Tommy and Tyler. Tyler probably got it maybe. Well, no, looks like Tommy got Tyler. Wow.
Yeah, I believe he did. Huh.
There you go. All right, let's step away for a quick second as Brian Wortman, by the way, gets his typical lap lead, and come back and get you ready for, well, actually, let's not do that yet. Let's go show you the replay. My luck, I'm going to forget to show you the replay. Here we go. Yellow flag. And there goes Joey around. Unfortunately, as you said, just was loose throughout the corner. Just did a little self-spin and...
Yeah, just got behind on the steering and never caught up with it.
Yeah, that car was just in y'all the whole time.
But cold tires do that to you when you're trying to hustle. The thing that was good for him is he was a second and something faster than the other cars at that time because he had fresh tires. So,
all right, now we're going to step away for a quick second. We'll come back and get you more racing here on the Captain Esports Network.
This tree is going to look great here.
Did you call 811 to protect your underground utilities?
I can't wait to see these roses come up.
Dig, dig, dig! Wait, we forgot to call 811.
Before you dig, make sure you can. Call 811 to know what's below. It's up to all of us to protect the ones we love.
All right, lap 57 in the books here as we're back. The Sim500 811.org Cup Series from the Iowa Speedway, the penultimate race of the 2023 campaign. The captain with you, Chris Scala and Kevin England. And appreciate those joining us here on the network. Barbara Pinion, hello to you. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully you had a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully I'm the last person that wishes everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully everybody else did beforehand. Obviously... a lot of turkey, a lot of family, fun, football, racing on Kevin's part. I won't even bring up my situation. But needless to say, it was a fun holiday weekend. Shopping has started, and for me, I don't know if I'm excited yet. Now, oh, hey man, let me break something here real quickly. Joey Jatina takes the wave around. Now that's possible here and goes back on the lead lap. So there's a little interesting irony there. That's interesting. Yeah, otherwise he's going to be kind of out the lunch here a little bit now. Cleaning up things real quickly, Joe Hudson did come to pit road after he kind of drove through pit road, and he'll restart in the back. Also is Pedro Mojica, Tommy Ryan, who jumped to second on the restart or on the pit stop. Restarts 1-2 as we go back racing. Tommy Ryan on the long run might be the guy to watch here, as I expect Dalton maybe here to go the lead here, unless Mojica just takes off. So let's see how this goes. But let me ask this question. This probably makes this now a two-stop race, correct? Oh, Jose diving it in there, turn one. Where it looks like they're three wide, but they're really not. Right. So, I'm hoping a lot of people have taken notice, especially those, I mean, Tommy's teammates and maybe those who race close to Tommy might take notes of like what he's done recently. And on a track like this, I mean, you save that right front tire, it'll come to you. in the long run, and thank you later, basically, for taking care of it. As Kelly gets a little loose down there on that bottom side. Tyler's been faster on a shorter run. That's why I made the comment about will he get back up there. Right. Do appreciate the viewers who are here tonight. Obviously, I know it's been since the previous Friday since I had last broadcasted. Was going to do some streaming last week, but again, things happened that were unplanned. And obviously back with us tonight for the first time. And pretty much from here all the way to January, it's going to be very scarce broadcast as we get into the winter time. And, of course, me working at the current job. So I appreciate those who are here tonight watching. And just know that come 2024, I'm working on some things and want to improve the broadcast, especially when we get to the first week of January and we get kicked off with the NC811 Grand National Series for a third season. And I have a feeling I'm going to have a friend of mine racing in that race, so I might have to really be unbiased when he shows up here. And hello to James Boger, by the way, watching, cheering on the Faster Pastor. Here's where it gets tricky because you know Pedro's probably, and it could be wrong, but probably backing up his pace to run with Tyler so that eventually he'll pull away and Tyler wears right front out. So I could be wrong by that, but this battle here from 3rd through 8th is pretty intense. I mean, I'm watching, we're riding on board with Coleman right now. You see Josh Parker in his mirror, drops to the inside of Kelly here. I mean, this is some good stuff right here. You cannot be afraid to put that car where nothing is, or put it where the 8, where they like to say in the racing language. Parker will do that. He'll find a spot and put that car there and try to make the pass. As you see him now, the outside of that Dodge Charger of Chad Coleman. You see Campbell getting up to the top side of the track, which used to be the way to get around here. But times have changed here at Iowa a little bit. It used to be one of my favorite groups to run, was that top side of Iowa in turn 4. Yikes. Yeah, he just did a buy one, get one on that lap. He took care of Gonzalez and Mike Kelly on that lap. But 75 laps in, let's go back to the green flag restart there. Was around lap 50. It was at 56 to be exact. So 56 from 180, you get 124. So does this now get split up to 62, 62? Does this now go to a whatever, it's 124 divided by 340, 142 laps on tires? I mean, what are we thinking here? I think it's got to be, yeah, not much of a difference. No. I agree with you 100%. And I bring that up because we've seen those kind of moves happen. So, but from here, let's obviously do the math from there. Then 180 divided by 62, you're looking at 128. No, 118. So about 41 laps or so before these cars come to pit road. Now, you know what my answer is. Do what the leader don't do. I mean, I've always lived by that. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some races where, especially if I get into a series like myself knowing out here, if I ran in Sim500, I would probably be a top 15 car, top 20 at best. Because I know that my driving is not as good as some of these guys. Plus, I don't get to run as much as these guys doing that kind of thing. So, at that point, I might try something different, but at the same time, if I'm in a spot where I'm trying to gain as many points as possible, I might just go ahead and run the strategy that everybody else does so that I can get the best finishing position. But otherwise, I mean, why not go for the home run here and see if you can steal a race with going longer than halfway or whatever if the leaders come at that point. Or if the leaders go later, you pit it halfway and get the tires and go. Jacques Debray. It is not, and you're going to start seeing who has saved their tires in the early part of this run, because those guys will wake up and start making the passes. And the guys I look at is that 99 car, that 2 car, so Tommy Ryan, Mike Kelly, and then wherever that 26 car went. Gonzalez. Oh, there he is. He's in the Dolphins colors. Hello. Yep. top side. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's got his atomic burrito spotter with him, but yeah, I'm sure he's helping him out if so. But one thing I should point out too, you mentioned earlier about the short pitting, and if you go to pit road, you don't want the caution to come out. Well, we kind of learned a trick earlier that would work if you need to get the caution. Wasn't going to go any further than that, but Chad Coleman going to lose 7th or lose 8th. Yes. Now, there used to be an iRacing glitch at this track. They fixed it since then. But back in its heyday, you used to have a little patch of the inside wall at Iowa that you could actually drive through coming to pit road. It was not really a sneak in there, but like it would make the pit road a little easier to get onto because you would be able to turn left and there's like that piece of inside wall that sticks out. You can go right through it. But yeah, now you can't. But yep.
Have a third place for Josh Parker, and look who is hounding him. 99 of Tommy Ryan again. He has driven out from this cluster of cars. He's got one of the fastest lap times right now. In fact, I think the 81 is physically in his way at the moment. And if the 99 could drive around him, we would see him drive up and make this a 3-car race.
And I think eventually you might see that because Josh obviously ran pretty hard there early in this run. And now, of course, Tommy's starting to pick it up as we get later and later into the run there. And you see the battle back there. Jose Gonzalez now starting to make moves inside of Glenn Campbell. So I think this is that part where whoever saved the tires is going to make that run. But again, you're going to see pit stops probably here in the next 20 laps to split this run in half. So the strategy board is really about to open up a lot.
25-4-15 for your leader, 25-3-14 for Tyler Dalton and Josh Parker. And Tommy Ryan are running lap times that are matching what Tyler's doing. In fact, the two of them, even though they're tussling with each other, have been on par or faster than the top two. So I suspect that when the time comes, they'll clean it up. But the 81 is loose off of turn 4. He keeps sliding up in front of the 99. And I believe the 99 had clean racetrack.
Cantone, on the drag strip.
He's on the racetrack. Tommy Ryan goes to the bottom, and he's going to move past finally. Now we'll see what he's got. He's wandering around the pits at Turkey Derby. He looked like he had a blast, I think.
Well, I mean, if you're a racing fan, you're going to have a blast, I would think. Let's see. Oh, yeah, he just gets loose. Actually,
I don't think he was trying to get to pit road, do you?
I think he was. Just that car, just like he gets loose, but it looks like he hangs a left.
He's so far. Yeah, but I mean that just shows what we were talking about a moment ago. How hard it is. You saw how slow he was because he started to slide. There was absolutely no way, and that's how a lot of drivers try to make their pit exit. Maybe not from the third lane, but that's what happens to them. They get down there and they go, oh, it's over there, and they end up on the drag strip and going around one more run.
So as we come up on lap 100, still got this fierce battle back here for 6th, but Mojica's still leading by 9/10 now over Dalton, so he's starting to stretch it out. And I noticed once Tommy Ryan got the 3rd, that's when he started to, all right, time to go. And
Afterburner.
Josh Parker right there in fourth, about 3.5 seconds back now. So he's really starting to fall back into David Comstock. There's Mr. Sleeper hanging out there
Hey,
in the
Tommy
fifth
just
position.
had a moment where he had to lock him down out of turn 4. The car was drifting up to the outside wall to Geico sign, and he slammed the brakes on.
Yeah,
That
that just
cost
cost
him
him a
quite a
lot.
bit of speed. Yeah. But they're running 25 threes, 25 fives up front. He's running 25 flats and a 25-7 for Parker out back. So Parker, the anchor, is out. And for Tommy Ryan, he's got a little more air in the tires or something because he is coming.
Well, now you got to wonder if. Stody Bedfield with some issues. We'll check on that in a second. Just watching Tommy. I don't know if it was there or trying to see where he had his moment. Look, he might have been there. It looked like I didn't see the lockup, but I saw where it seemed like he was kind of slow coming off the corner. Let's see if we can catch it here. It should be the next lap.
Well, wait, let's talk about Joey Gittino just flipped Stoney Benfield.
Oh, no.
Sent it down through the grass here at lap 100. Got into his quarter panel, just pushed up off the corner.
No.
Tagged Stoney. Stoney goes down, catches it. Able to drive through the small track on the front stretch.
Great save.
And carry on.
And knowing Joey, he probably apologized for that, and we go on. But tough break there for Stoney, and
I think Cal and Tony stuck a fork in it and called it a night.
he said, "I'm going back to Wall Stadium. Forget this."
Yeah, done.
Wesley Donaldson, 9th position here, now battling with Coleman for 8th.
Gittino on pit road in the 14. Right side tires going on. Remember, he had older tires than the entire field.
Right.
So if somebody was going to pit early, he'd be the guy.
4 tires of fuel, and he pulls away. Joey just trying to salvage the best finish he can at the moment so that he can gain as many points and battle there with the...
Donaldson.
Uh-oh.
When you say 8 tires is better than 4, well, 4 tires in the outside wall kind of constrain you in the racetrack. He just hammered the wall out of turn 4 trying to get around the outside of the 38 of Coleman, but was able to make the pass. Now he's in position 9.
I don't see much damage on the car, so it looks like everybody okay. Is
Sometimes you know how it is, Chris. If you don't get stuck on the wall, you could use that as kind of a, just hold me for a second.
Right.
And then I'll be able to drive off of it. Yellow.
Oh, caution. Yep.
Yellow on the racetrack.
Joey.
Here.
Hey, I'm going to try it again, boys.
No.
This time, no, he's in the outside wall and tows it back to pit road, so...
I wonder if the cold tires got him one more time. I don't think 75 shipped him. No, he just got in and on cold tires, the car did not have any grip and he flopped it around backwards.
Yeah, he's just fighting it into the corner.
Sometimes you're the bug and sometimes you're the windshield.
A tough break there for the boss man, but unfortunate, and he'll go behind the wall. And I was just talking about him battling potentially with Hudson and those guys there towards the bottom half of the top 5. But
I'm going to lean over here and push that big red reset button.
Yish.
There we go. Reset.
A lot of us.
Now we're going to have to see is the pit road if Tyler Dalton is going to try something interesting to get that track position. He really needs to be out front here and have a faster pit stop if he's going to do something with this 58. I'm surprised he's not pushing him down pit road.
Well, you got to be very careful because you don't want to get somebody a speeding. You don't want to get yourself speeding. Even though technically there's no rule against it. It's kind of unethical, if you will. As there goes Joe Hudson through pit road again, so that tells me he's doing that on purpose, which I can't say I've never done before. Race off pit road, Pedro with not as easy as I thought. Dalton was there. Nelson Rivera comes out third.
That was pretty close. He was a half a car length from that lead.
Wow. All right, let's take one last, or let's get another break in, I should say, before we get to the finish of this race. As you're watching the Sim500's NC811.org Cup Series here on the Captain Esports Network.
When do you plan on putting in that new fence we've been talking about since last summer?
I guess I could start tomorrow.
Protect the ones you love and protect your buried utilities by contacting 811 before you dig, either by phone, the web, or the NC811 app. Know what's below before you dig. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
Back we are here at the Iowa Speedway as we are in race number 35 of the season, but the second to last or penultimate race round, if you will, in the Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series season. 109 laps in the books, caution out for the second time, as it's been pretty much Mojica and Dalton up front. Now you see Joe Hudson is turning left heading to pit road there. He's been doing that pretty much all night. Kind of a la Brian Wortman strategy. Also, a guy I know named Joe Petrick liked to do that kind of move, and good friend of mine. And now Mojica back in the lead, and Brian Wortman is going to take the wave around here. It looks like and get back on the lead lap. But big shout out to 811, of course, doing big things as always around the United States. I know I'm seeing a lot of, and even hearing a lot of Indiana 811 spots up here. Of course, North Carolina, Virginia, wherever. You're hearing about 811, make sure you call him before you dig of any kind. And not to mention, the majority of us aren't going to be digging anytime soon because the ground is starting to freeze. So.
Yeah, but as these winter storms come through and things happen, you get
That's
out
true.
there and in the winter trying to solve a problem, don't forget, right, that you have to pay attention to those utilities and know what's below.
Absolutely. That's a very valid point. Always know what's below. Call 811 before you dig.
Pedro able to win the battle off of pit road as Workman goes around to get his lap out to his outside again for this restart. These two have held serve over the field this entire race. Will Tyler Dalton be able to wrestle this lead away? As look who's running third. Have we even said his name tonight?
I think I did once or twice, but not that it matters. David Comstock, third position for him. Of course, Tommy Ryan, fourth position. Josh Parker, Jose Gonzalez. And another thing I should point out, track temp has dropped under 100 degrees. It's almost down to 90. So it's cooling down. Going to see a lot more grip in this nearly 1 mile track. So the first question I got to ask now, as we're coming to 68 laps to go, is this too short of a run for Tommy or Jose or Kelly? Some of those guys who are better on the long run. We're going to find out.
Well, and does it help Parker, who's always better on the short run?
Or even Tyler Dalton, who's trying to get up there to Pedro as we go back green to turn one.
Yeah, Pedro got an amazing jump. He's out by a full clean car length over top of the second and third place cars who were hanging off each other on the back straightaway. Tyler Dalton all the way up after making contact with Comstock as Dalton has a good charge out of turn four. They're still door to door going into turn one.
Dalton almost clearing into turn one to see if he shuts the door on him.
He should have the better drive off here.
One car
to
getting
the
loose in the
outside.
back. Hudson getting sideways into the wall. Caution going to come out.
And Tyler was able to secure that spot.
So the third caution. And I was going to say the sponsor's name. I got to look at this car. Ham's Beer. Or is that Ham's?
It sure says Ham.
Is that Ham's? Do you know that one? I don't know that one.
No, never heard that one.
That's a new one for me. I'll be Ham. I have no clue. From the land of the blue sky, blue waters. Anyone know if that's like an American one or a Canadian maybe?
Little searching. Are you a? I'm gonna guess you're a Google guy, right? Not a Bing guy.
I am Googling right now as we speak.
Well, I don't suspect we'll see a lot of action on pit road here. I would imagine this is not worthy of tires since the drivers just pitted 7 laps ago.
Well, this makes a heck of a lot of sense.
This
So
is going
let's.
to help Brian Wortman.
Yeah, Wortman will come in and Hudson will come in. They'll get tires here. Hudson almost misses pit road. So I'm going to read the quote from the back of his car again. This should tell you where it's from because I didn't even think about it until I looked it up. From the land of the sky blue waters.
I'm a New Jersey guy, and I cheated. I would have no idea that comes out of Minnesota.
Well, the land of 10,000 lakes, Minnesota.
Yes, yes.
So, Theodore Ham Brewing Company, apparently, made in 1865. I might or might not have been around for that.
One must support their favorite beverage.
Nothing wrong with that. Very dark.
We took a little silver rum, and we poured it over. They have a jingle?
They have a jingle. Sorry.
What's their jingle?
It says there, I'm not going to be able to sing it, obviously, but from the land of the sky blue waters, echo waters, so like it says waters twice, comes the waters best for brewing, hams the best beer refreshing, hams the beer refreshing hams. And for those that don't know a jingle, it's the music that plays like at the end of the spot or something.
Is it sung to the tune of "This Land Is Our Land"?
I don't know. I'll have to go up on YouTube or something after the race and look at a commercial. You can learn new things sometimes.
I was going to say, this is the end of the year, and we start to go through withdrawal, right? There's no more NASCAR races. The F1 is done. Snowball Derby's about the only thing on the horizon. But it's a little cold, especially up here in the Northeast. We were in the 30s watching the race at Wall Stadium, and yeah, it was a little chilly there. We were prepared though. A little rum and coke will keep you warm, even though it thins your blood. I had made some silver rum where I poured it over the cappings from some of the extraction we did from the honey, and it flavored it with honey and a little bit of the essence of the hive, and that was good sipping while sitting there watching the Turkey Derby.
Did it responsibly. It's all that matters. So.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little chilly up here. I think tomorrow I'm supposed to wake up at 4 a.m. to temps in like 20s or something like that, or like early, or like high teens or whatever. So I might be dressed up like the Christmas Story kid, going to the airport tomorrow. But either way, yeah, it's a little bit of dusting of snow on the ground here, so it's a little adjusting on my part, but nothing I'm not used to once I get my mind to it. But needless to say, on the withdrawal part, if you ever go watch my streams really closely, I'm not afraid to admit this, and as you have seen, I'm not afraid to pick on myself when needed. My best broadcasts usually come while I'm in rhythm. My worst ones are after breaks. So they just gave me a whole entire week off from doing nothing.
Yeah.
So, and not to mention, again, I sound like one of those V6 motors from the 1990s Bush days. So.
They were awful.
Oh, the Bumblebees were awesome.
They were awful. I never liked them.
Little V6ers.
They reminded me of mini stocks at Nazareth Speedway. They would run those TR7 motors or whatever they were, and they sound like I'm a beekeeper, and I don't particularly love the sound of hornets flying down the backstretch. So
that's fair.
Well, let's see now. We got Pedro and Tyler. Going to get another shot for Tyler. Comstock and Ryan. Parker sitting back there in fifth with Jose. Mike Kelly, I suspect, is going to charge here now that we're getting down to it. Chad Coleman's going to try and avoid the carnage. Scott Simley just doing Scott Simley things there with Glenn Campbell and Wesley Donaldson out there. Doy Woods has not made a lot of noise tonight. Not sure if this is a track to his liking, but he's one that's pretty fast on the long run, or the short run. So is 62 to go a short run?
That's close, man. I would say probably no. Oh, David!
Oh, boy. Yeah. I want a little piece of this racetrack, Tyler. You're going to give it to me, is what he just said there. I'm sure Tyler was watching and saw it.
I mean, the question, this is actually the first restart we've had now with tires that are a lap or two old. So that could play a role here. You get a little cycle on the tires, if that even exists in iRacing. I seem to think it does.
So this is where it is stressful for Tyler. Not only is he trying to find a way to pass, but he's got to watch in the rearview mirror and see whether Comstock's trying to
Oh,
make
Mike
a
Kelly
move
off
on him.
track.
Gathered it up.
Yep. Down there in the Calantoni Groves.
Comstock, good run out of turn 2. He's going to draw alongside the 19. Tyler goes to the outside of your leader. Dalton not able to make the run, and everybody settles back in, nose to tail out of turn 4 across the stripe.
Now, something else we should point out here, Kevin, this is something we can easily overlook. Why Tyler running second is such a big deal here. The battle for second in points becomes into play here because you have Chad Coleman back in the 7th position right now, 7th, battling with Campbell and Gonzalez. Tyler Dalton finished first or second here. Could jump up to second in points.
He was only 7 markers back from Chad Coleman coming into this, so you're right. Every position is really going to matter here. What he wants to be careful is in an ambition to keep the position, he doesn't run the tires off. He needs to be fast but smooth while trying to get the win.
On top 10 single file, pretty much everybody painting that bottom line right now on the new tires. I say that as Parker moves up at a half groove, so does Tommy Ryan, but everybody right there on the bottom. First car topside, Scott Simley. And did I just overhear Comstock shifting?
That would not surprise me. If you're holding the car down the bottom and you're trying to roll the car in, drag the brake, get it to turn, you're killing the RPM, and maybe you want to get a little run off to make sure that you're going to outdrive the car behind you. You're going to wind up those RPMs.
No, he's 5th gear here, so I might have just heard things. And in fairness, just to share with viewers, when I have the stream on, my audio, like, in the room, is I can barely hear the cars. And that's only because you would hear it in my microphone.
It seems a little early to be shifting. These guys should have plenty of grip and be able to use 5th gear as Chad Coleman goes around the 26, trying to take away that 6th position.
Here comes Tyler. I think Pedro a little defensive there in the 3. Took a shallow entry.
Every time Tyler goes high like that, he opens the bottom for Comstock. One of these times, if Comstock gets a good run, he's going to be to the number of the 19. It's difficult over here where he's porpoising through the bumps. He's not able to get the drive off that he needs, but in 3 and 4,
now in fairness,
he gets the entry right.
In fairness, to run the bottom lane at Iowa, you do have to enter shallow. So I could be totally just seeing Pedro make that move, and it looked like he's driving shallow when it's the actual line into the corner.
Either one of them make a mistake, and Josh Parker will be there to capitalize on that.
Or Tommy, or Chad, who's now 6th.
Yeah, Tommy's not running the top anymore. I think he realizes, as soon as I said that he goes high, that he needs to keep pace with these guys. Before, when he ran the top, he just kind of let them fall off, and then on the run, he reeled them back in. I think he wants to keep them a little closer this go-around, so at least in turn 1 and 2, he seems to be running bottom to middle.
Tyler's getting some super runs off the top side, especially in 3 and 4. He about got to the back bumper of Pedro. This time he goes to the bottom, though.
Challenge for 3rd. Parker drove around the outside. You have to wonder if Comstock pinching the car down, trying to get underneath Tyler, possibly heated the tires up a little bit.
Maybe. I overheard a driver earlier say that you somewhat want to drive this track like you're a Homestead. Who won the Homestead? Josh Parker.
Josh Parker, yeah. Isn't it funny how that works sometimes? Right. You get to one track, let's say X, and you run it, and then the next week, Indy and Pocono, for example, and one translates to the next. It's kind of odd, and they're completely different racetracks. You think about, to your point, Miami and Iowa, they have nothing in comparison, yet every once in a while, the way the turns are shaped, the way the banking works, the way the grip levels work, the way the bumps work, you find something that works at one track, and the next week you can parlay that into some sort of success.
Yeah, I was about to say the comparison of Pocono and Indy, I think you could put those in one corner and actually get along. Where Iowa and Homestead, I don't know about that. I mean, the only thing you can compare about Homestead and Iowa is probably the progressive banking and the surface. That's about it.
Yeah, understood. It's just making a comment about how you charge the corner and some of that stuff. Here comes Parker to the bottom.
No, what I mean, what I meant by that was I didn't like. I'm looking at two different elements, and I see what you were saying about it, but it's just like it's just two. I mean, I guess the worn out surface is probably where Josh is running well here, or how do you attack the corner and that kind of thing.
I'm stuck sideways out of turn 2. He's going to lose a position to Tommy Ryan, who now comes to 4th. This is battle for 2nd, not going away. Josh Parker running hard down on the bottom. Sees laps ticking away, 47 to go here of 180, and right now the car on the march. He's come from 5th position at this restart. Now he's working 2nd, and I think he's going to be able to clear, and he does. P2 for the 81 of Josh Parker. Got one more to go. Can he track down Pedro Mojica and make 2 wins in a row?
He could. Not to mention, here comes that 99 starting to come to life also. Tommy Ryan about 8/10 back. Just got a good run off turn 4. Let me ask this, Kev. You go back to those old Gen 4 cars, the ones where you used to see like Evernham and those guys bring a bunch of those cars to similar tracks and run them over and over and over and over and over. You think you can get away with running a Homestead car here at Iowa?
I don't think so, no. I mean, the only similarities is how you attack the corner. Maybe you run the bottom, paint the line, and things like that. Like, a lot of drivers will back off early in the straightaway, turn the car down, and carve the yellow line. And it's the same approach tactically for how you attack the corner, drive through the center, and drive off at Iowa if you're running the bottom as it is for Homestead, or you run the top the same way. It's really about your throttle control and turning the car in. But the racetracks are apple and orange. They're not even close in the same fruit family, so to speak.
Tommy Ryan went to make a run on Dalton for 3rd. Dalton went up there and aero blocked. That 99 is getting faster now.
Yeah, similar to what we saw earlier with the 99 where the 81 was blocking him, sliding up. But if I'm Tyler, I'm just going to use my racetrack.
Oh, he got loose. Woo.
Yeah.
Tommy, big save.
I think he had a moment where he might have thought to turn down underneath, but as he put some wheel in it, the car stepped out on him.
Yeah, and you saw the right front smoke actually from him jamming a brake to straighten the car back out.
Little tap of the wall for Jose Gonzalez down the backstretch last time by out of turn 2. He's still clear. He's got a lot of pressure from Wesley Donaldson running 10th as they try and figure out who's going to run 9th.
I just remember back. Go ahead.
Another battle behind them is Doy Woods and Scott Simley running side by side. We say this sometimes, Chris. You race harder out the back than you do out front for some of these positions outside of the top 10. And you think to yourself, man, what a race.
Well, you're driving angry. That's the problem. You're so mad that you're running back here in 11th and not competing for a win or a top 5 finish, and you start driving angry, driving over your head, and start making bad decisions.
Yeah, looking at a couple drivers out in the back, just calling some names. Gerald Livingston running 16th. He's gotten a little speed lately. He's been racing with Gerald on the off nights, and I see Doug Sigmund supporting with the Pro System Brakes Camaro out there just soldiering away, still on the lead lap. Brian Wortman 1 lap down, looking for a caution to see if he can get back in to the tussle here as Pedro continues to lead over Josh, and the laps are ticking off, and the question lies, how hard did Josh run, and will he have anything left to go mount a charge in the last 38 laps to go?
Well, he got it down to a half second, and then Pedro started to step it up here a bit.
Yeah, things have kind of settled down in this top 5. Everybody just kind of running in their space. They got a couple car lengths. And I have to wonder, I'm curious what you think of this. Sometimes you'll see a driver run high, and the driver behind him will run a lane up or the middle or whatever just to get clean air on the nose and just pick something a little bit differently. I don't ever try to run in the tire tracks of the car except down the straightaway. And I'm wondering if this plays out here as you're trying to find speed when the tires are worn.
Well, the thing about it with this car is you look at the way it raced on the short tracks in real life. I mean, you got these cars that are coming up, is it this week or next week, are testing a whole new package at Phoenix that is going to try to eliminate the shifting and potential some other issues right now. I mean, this car, you go back to a race at Martinsville, you go to a race at Bristol, and here in Iowa, it's obviously going to be a big deal too, as you see Dalton up there, more aero block on the 99 as they battle for third. And part of that aero blocking, I bring that up because, is it blocking technically? No, but you're being defensive and protecting the groove of the guy in front of you. And the reason why, going back to what we're talking about, this car produces such dirty air to the front nose of a car that even at a small track like this, like Richmond, Bristol, Martinsville, you can't pass. It's so hard to pass the car in front of you. So yes, you're going to see a lot of cars like Tommy. Look, he's just trying to get air on that nose right there, but also being up in that top groove. It's so hard to do, where if you just follow behind the tracks of Tyler Dalton, your front tires are going to be screaming at you in 2 minutes. See, like right there, he's going to get the run here.
He's going to turn underneath him and try and get side by side. He's got a good run.
I mean, it sounds so weird to say because, you know, Martinsville, Bristol, those tracks never used to be aerodynamics. But now, because of the way the splitter works in the front nose of this car, you get behind another car, it's almost like racing an open wheel car.
Yeah, and I feel like it bears a little explanation. The air comes in the front of the car, it passes underneath into the diffuser, and that is where the downforce is made. So if you're tucked in close to the car in front of you and you're not getting any of that air, you're not getting the downforce. So if they can take away the aero package a little bit and make it more to mechanical grip, meaning the tires, then I think you're going to have a better race. And that's what they've struggled with. I don't know if when Tyler went up in front of the 99 in this sim, whether that's really the factor or not. I don't think it plays as much here, but they have been modeling some of this stuff into the cars each and every release. So
now, the obvious, as a race fan, as one podcast likes to call us DARFs, which is a dumb blank race fan, the initial thought in my head is, okay, well, the downforce is coming from the diffuser, so why don't we take the diffuser out of the car in the short tracks? And of course that leads to, you got to do a whole bunch of other stuff to the car. I mean, why not take away the whole underbody of the car? Because you remember, the car is solid now on the bottom. There's no, you know,
solid roll pan.
It's a solid, yeah. So you got there's so many factors you have to do to the car to make it happen, to make these kind of things happen. But that's where we've gone with technology now, where these cars have so much downforce in them now, and they're just tricky.
Well, look at a everyday late model.
Yeah.
Car Tour and some of the other ones. They don't have any of that stuff.
No.
It's just a car. They have a little tiny spoiler, and they put on some of the most amazing racing, and a lot of NASCAR drivers have said that. Just look over there.
The biggest issue that NASCAR did, at first I was totally on board with this move because I'm like, this is what they need to do with the cars. Now that I've seen the results in the end, the biggest mistake NASCAR ever did was put those cars on the ground.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I personally like racing this car. Next to the late model, this is the car that...
Ooh, almost some three wide. Doy, hold on. Doy, hold on.
Whoop, he's going to go across.
Saved it.
Holy cow, how did he gather that up? And he's still under attack over there.
Stoney's over here trying to get him.
Yeah. Like a piranha in the water there.
Out for second. Here comes Tommy. Parker
There
burned off the
goes
tires.
Tommy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that was almost three wide over there off of it. And again, that we saw that classic Doy Woods I'm talking about. Loose off the bottom, car starts to slide, car yaws to the right, and for whatever reason, he was able to pull it back and just keep the pedal to the metal. But good job for him.
Yeah, great save.
That's a hard thing to do coming off the corner in turn 4.
Especially on the older tires. as we watch Campbell now outside of Coleman. Good 5-car battle here. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, I think.
Yeah, Campbell's car does not look like it wants to turn off the corner. Just is rolling. He's using every inch of the racetrack up out of the corner, and that's going to eventually turn into these guys behind him, if they get settled, will come up to him. Times up front for Pedro and Tommy, almost identical, a 2.69 to a 2.63. A little faster for Tommy, as everybody is catching that wall. Campbell got it. Mike Kelly got it. I think even Wesley Donaldson got it off of turn 2. Some of
Gonzalez
these
trying
guys
to find
will
somewhere to
really
go.
struggle in here.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that time by Mojica about 2/100ths quicker.
So this is that question about, does the car in front of you take away your downforce? We know these drivers have said the cars don't handle as well in dirty air. Mike Kelly is out of control. Donaldson thought he was going to catch it up. Kelly got against the wall. Donaldson pegged him in the back end and kind of pushed him through. Now they're going to be 3 wide after turn 2.
Now you got 3 cars with clean air. Oh, and Mike's in the wall
Oh,
again.
yeah, on the wall again. Boy, that car is toast right now. His car is not handling whatsoever. I think he just pulled up and said, "Go ahead, guys. I need a moment."
Sometimes you need that.
And look who's coming. The 12 of Scott Simley, just constantly rising. As Kelly, his car is just flat out of control over in turn 2.
Yeah, I think
He's
Mike's had
dropped
some,
like 8 positions here.
he had some angry tires.
He's on the same tires as everybody else, just must somewhere have gotten him, again, angry.
Tommy and Pedro just continuing to run pretty much similar times to each other here with 20 laps to go. And you know what? Let's step away one more time real quickly. Let's hear from our sponsor, 811, as you're watching the Sim500 Cup Series on the Captain Esports Network.
What a nice day to install my new mailbox.
Hi there, friend. I'm Dig Safely Man. My job is to ensure you call 811 before you dig.
Why do I need to do that?
Vital utilities like natural gas and electric run just beneath the Earth's surface. Damaging them can cause service interruption, environmental hazards, or personal injury.
I thought only contractors had to call before they dig, so homeowners do too.
Call 3 business days before you dig unless you have X-ray vision. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
Or as you've seen on there, you can download the app also as we watch this battle for third. Back with you at the Iowa Speedway. The captain here with you, Kevin England. 18 laps to go. Iowa Speedway virtually on iRacing as Tyler Dalton battles with Josh Parker for third.
One of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now, Tyler Dalton, has kept the speed. Back to the coal truck in a moment. He's going faster. Everybody else is going slower. The one that's going faster, though, is Pedro. He's just somehow found a little more, like another gear. He's running 25 270s. Second place, 25 671. I mean, he's 2/10 faster, but even lap times right now as Tyler Dalton has run down the third place driver of
Josh
Parker.
Parker.
Yeah. Oh, had a little stroke there. And now, when he got to him and is unable to keep the clean air on the nose, he wasn't able to mount a challenge. He's trying to find the right line, pick and choose his battle to see if he can work his way through. And I think they're matching the lap times of Tommy Ryan as Pedro Mojica. He's driven into another zip code here.
Yeah, he's just driving away now as Mike Kelly comes to pit road. So unscheduled pit stop there, but yeah, Mojica out to 4 seconds now. So, I mean, he is literally to the point now where he is putting a stamp down on the field. He said, I told you all season long, this is my championship. And now he's literally putting the stamp down. And he's licking it right now to put it on the envelope to send it out in the mail.
Yep, mail me the check. He's pretty much going to make it an exercise to show up next week, start the race. But I want to come back to Tyler Dalton. This bodes extremely well for Tyler, the end of this season. because this is how Pedro was last year.
Yeah.
Pedro struggled to put the races together, a full race. And Tyler has done that quite a bit. He'll run great in the first quarter, first third, and then starts to fade back. He's not slow, but he's never running in that top 5. The last quarter of this season, he's flipped that on its head. He's running in the top 5, and he's coming forward at the end of these races. And if Tyler can continue to bottle this magic, next year he'll be a formidable force for sure.
I agree 100%.
That 19 looks really good here as we close the season down.
Agreed 100%. And what's the one thing that's going to hold Tyler back? Well, the fact that Pedro's not going to the Coke Series next season.
Well, that's okay.
Unlike the last season, to where pretty much we had Daniel, Pedro, and now Daniel, of course, took off. Which, who knows? We might see Daniel back down the road.
Might
that become a factor too?
Not only that, the rumor of the different high caliber drivers looking at this series for next year, I'm excited as the job of Colin is going to get even better with higher caliber competition coming in for the 2024 season. You can go to sim500.com, look at what they have to offer. The race season's already posted. You could sign up. They're having a deal, I think, for Monday nights and Sunday nights. You can sign up for that. And of course, as it is around Sim500, there's racing almost 7 days a week all the time with Super Speedway Series. I'll tell you, the late models have been spectacular. The race we ran last week, there were 4 wide. Incredible racing for the first quarter of the race. You have to go watch that broadcast. It was amazing.
Now, that's not, and when we say super late models, it's not super late models on short tracks. They're out on the big boys running out there. So I'll have to definitely take a peek at that. But yeah, go sign up. Sim500.com. Actually got somebody I know that's going to be signing up next season, and one that practices pretty much all of his life. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he can do out here against these guys. So it's going to be a lot of fun there. And, of course, if you want to be a part of the league, go sign up. And you could listen to Kevin throw his jinxes at you and see if you can avoid him.
That's right. I think Josh Parker looked in the mirror and started humming to himself, smooth as fast.
Right.
He stopped concentrating on trying to run down anybody in front of him and just started to hit his marks. And as such, is able to clear Tyler Dalton. He's now up for a second as Tyler had driven to him and just said, not today. I am going to hang on to what I have. And in fact, I have to wonder, as the laps tick down with 6 to go, I don't think he has enough to get to the 99, but Pedro out to a 6-second lead right now. And all he has to do is just click off these last couple laps. And
there's 2 cars you need to watch right now. And Tyler needs to look in the mirror because Jose and Doy are coming like there is no tomorrow. And I'm watching, I just peeked over their lap times. They are running laps as fast as Pedro is right now.
Yeah, Jose is like Pedro's little brother in the long run. He's just that guy. The two of them somehow always figure out how to, on that long run, find speed at the run, especially in the later. You know, sometimes I feel like, let's say Jose Gonzalez uses the first half of the race to figure out how to run it, and then the second half he puts it all together and comes and finishes it if he's not crashed.
As you see, Jose to the outside of Tyler. Tyler gets the better run off the corner. Tyler going to go up arrow block here. Expected Jose go up. He goes to the middle. Doy goes to the bottom.
Careful Doy down there on the bottom. Also in the car. He knows that that's no man's land down there.
Basically, Tyler, all he's doing is predicting, and there's contact with Doy and Jose. That'll end that battle. And here comes Hudson, who's just as fast as these other 2 are.
Where did he come from? Holy cow, he drove from the back of the field into underneath these guys. Gets a little squirty loose. Pedro's just saying, I don't care what you guys do back there, but I do not want to see the color yellow.
Yeah, he's got about 1,000 feet here, and he won't. White flag waves, final lap for Pedro. As he continues to just put the stamp on this season. He just continues to win. It's what it's been all about in these playoffs, as Pedro going to victory lane is for the third time in 4 races in the playoffs. Mojica goes to victory lane at Iowa this time. And all but clinched the championship for this season. But I'm not going to give it to him yet.
What a run for Joe Hudson at the end to come back and steal 5th. He
yeah,
drove underneath the woods and got the 26 at the line. Outstanding run for Hudson.
Ryan, Parker, Dalton, Hudson. Your top 5, as you mentioned, Gonzalez, Woods, David Comstock falls to 8th. Glenn Campbell 9th. Nelson Vera peaks up there to a top 10. Chad Coleman falls to 12th. That means we're going to have a new second place points guy. Tyler Dalton led a lap, so that's a bonus point, plus 10 positions. So by my math, that should be a 4-point swing, or a 4-point change, or whatever, English. He'll be up by 4 on Coleman, if I did the math
Which will
right.
be points. As Pedro writes his signature on the front straightaway for the umptieth time this season.
Yeah, he's got to be pretty good at doing that.
That puts him in the double-digit win category with
Yeah.
10 wins on the season's 25. Now 25.
Remember
Top
back in like
5.
May, we were like, okay, who's going to have the most wins this season? Because it was 3 guys battling.
Yeah, from a top 5 standpoint, he has double over his nearest competition.
I mean, we go back
Just
to
an amazing season.
You
for
go back
Pedro.
to June, I think it was. It was right before the Indianapolis race. I still remember when he said, I need to win more. And from that point forward, all he did was win.
Against this competition, if you can do a double-digit win season, you're pretty impressive. And tonight locks that up, and he's got a shot to get one more next week and finish it with an exclamation point. But I don't know how, let's cut the cake here for the Iowa show as Pedro wins convincingly over Tommy Ryan, Josh Parker, Tyler Dalton, and an incredible surge at the end there for Joe Hudson to take 5 at the line. It is Jose Gonzalez, Doy Woods, David Comstock, Glenn Campbell, and Nelson Rivera rounding out your top 10. Stoney Benfield comes home with 11th. Chad Coleman slipped back to 12th in the late running. Scott Simley also slipped back. 13th for him, Wesley Donaldson. It'll be Gerald Livingston, 15th. 16th for Doug Sigmund. Brian Workman, he is 17th tonight. And then the drivers who did not make it to the finish line, Mike Kelly, Joey Jattina, Anthony Calantoni, Randy Yoakum, and Mike Montesi round out the 22 starters here tonight. But number 1 in the Iowa hearts and minds is Pedro Mojica. What an incredible win for him. And just continues to show these guys that this is the season of Pedro Mojica 2023.
Yeah, it sure is. He has been fast and man, I'll wait for the points to get updated. But I mean, with the way iRacing is, you never know how many people you're going to get each week. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Pedro wins a championship, and then 40 people show up next week in Vegas. You never know. So, needless to say, though, I mean, he's done everything and done enough to win the championship here this season. And points are updated actually right now. So it is 30 between he and Dalton. So unless you get, 35, I would say to be safe, people next week, the championship goes to Dalton, to Mojica. Dalton is 2 points ahead of Coleman now, 4 ahead of Parker. So we've got a 3-horse battle for second in points. And then down at 7th, we've got 3 people within 5 points. So I'll show that here in a second. But right now, let's go talk to some drivers here. And Parker did finish 3rd. Look at that.
Yep. Yeah, 3 cautions, 15 laps out of 180 in the contest here tonight, and I have to say these drivers did an amazing job. I
Yeah,
know how hard the setup was. The track was challenging. Last minute changes in setup for drivers to adapt to here on the race night, and they did a spectacular job. We saw it wasn't easy. A couple drivers slipped sliding away, some through the grass. I think the only victim we had was Callum Tony, who just could not get that car settled underneath him. But he'll be back next week and show the boys how it gets done. But, outstanding job by this cast and crew tonight for a great race here at Iowa.
Another one who almost had a rough ending there early in the race was our third place finisher, Josh Parker. Josh, little bumps with Ruski there with Mr. Kelly there on the back straightaway. It looked like he got loose above you, and you just slid up into him from obviously being in the inside lane there. But way to come back and take advantage of the cautions to get a top three.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think it was kind of going with what I said after Homestead. It was just kind of stuff out of my control during the playoffs, so I had that to the list. But yeah, it was kind of frustrating. I suck here, so I guess I'm happy to finish third.
Well, that's kind of interesting because with interesting. I just had somebody ask if Kevin's on mute. No, he's not. But which wouldn't surprise me if he was. But yeah, Josh is on the same microphone as Kevin is. So, anyways, yeah. So if you're muted, guess what? We ain't hearing Josh either right now. So we are hearing you guys. So, anyways, going back to just the racing here at Iowa, it's funny because I overheard a driver earlier say that you almost have to throttle the car and drive it like you're at Homestead. And I know it's kind of hard to do because it's two totally, out left field and different tracks. But understanding, I guess, how you got to play with the throttle coming off the corner, which would make sense. Did you have anything like that, or?
I don't know who the hell that guy was, but no, this didn't resemble Homestead at all. I don't know what's with the short track, and I don't know. I knew something wrong with this car ever since we switched to this Gen 6 on short tracks. Mostly, yeah, I would say short tracks, but the mile and a half, I'm fine. No, this wasn't. I guess it. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how you would compare this to Homestead, but I don't know. Since the multi-groove racing, it hasn't worked. This track has just been one groove, nothing. You try to make stuff work, and because you're trying to make stuff work, you kind of just burn your stuff up. At least I do. But no, I don't find resemblance of Homestead at all.
Why? I bring that up because you said how much you.
Well, if that was the case, I probably would have won the race.
Right, that's what I was going with that. But anyways, nonetheless, man. Obviously, talk about the battling out there because you were a part of some 2-3 wide battles, especially as you were trying to work your way back up through the field.
Yeah, I'm so out of it in points, at least for the championship purposes, that I was trying to race. I've been a little more respectful, starting in the back. But yeah, early on, I caught myself 3 wide accidentally. I think with Stoney, I wasn't trying to do that. I just kind of got a run that I wasn't expecting. And then when Mike Kelly sent me back to the back again, I turned the aggressiveness up a little bit, kind of forgetting about tire saving because it seemed like no matter what I did, I was going to be bad. So I just decided to try to go get track position and hopefully just survive towards the end. And that's kind of what played out to happen.
Well, still was a great effort, man. It's 2 straight top 3s now as you come back and go to Vegas next week, which doesn't drive like Homestead either. And
Vegas, I can do. Vegas, I'm normally pretty dominant at, so I'm okay with that. But
well,
it doesn't drive like Homestead.
No, not at all. But you know what? This series has seen some of its best racing at Homestead or at Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas is a good track for some reason. I would say in any car. With turn 1, you got the bump, so as the tires wear, you kind of got to move up a little bit. And 3 is just I don't know what it is about turn 3, but the way I run it, it just helps me save tires a lot. And I find myself I run pretty good there, so I'm excited that's where we're ending. Unfortunately, I don't really have a chance at the championship, but at least I have a chance to win.
Right. Well, hey, great job, man. Send a shout out whoever you like to.
Yeah, you guys doing the broadcast. Joey for bringing out almost every yellow after his 45-minute driver meeting for us not to bring out yellows. So shout out to him. And then everyone at Team Name, Chad and everybody. Shout out to Tommy, man. He was fast on long runs. And obviously Pedro for winning.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
I'll see you.
All right, buddy. That is Josh Parker finishing in the 3rd position and Kev, I'll let you talk to Tommy while I get some water.
Yeah, I guess that's just a question of whether you want to poke the bear or not. Tommy Ryan, second place finish tonight. You had the speed on the long run. I don't believe you were looking for those cautions to break the way they did, but respectable night here coming up to second. And was it incredulous to watch Pedro drive away there at the end?
Yeah, I just got to figure out how to go a little more aggressive in the beginning of the run and still keep tires on it, and like the longevity that he has to make long run speed like that. And eventually, I pissed off the tire and slipped off one time, and then as soon as that happened, it was kind of done. I just had to nurse it home for the top with the podium. But yeah, it's pretty fun to drive. A lot of guys were complaining tight, and it was at different stages of the run, you know. But as we got near the end of it, I just didn't try to overdrive the car in the center, and that's what helped me drive up through the field there. And I wrecked here on Thursday when we do our little test race thing, and they obviously worked on the setup, so I had no idea what I was going to get when I got in here. But I can't run the lower line either like those guys do. I just don't have a whole lot of faith in that with my ability. I'm either burning up the tire or wrecking it, and so I typically have to run the top here, but it works out.
Yeah, I understand. It is complicated to drive with speed down through the bumps on the bottom and then get back to the throttle and not have the car break off. How many times did you see a driver wash up off the two and scrape that outside wall? You were talking about the car pushing. It seemed like a lot of drivers struggled with that.
Yeah, just depending on your trajectory down through one and two is how high you would end up out of the corner. And sometimes if you went in too low, then you end up having to put wheel in it, and then it's getting loose, and you're just trying to navigate the exit of two was tough. Um, but yeah, just for me, trying to get to the bottom of three and four, keeping the right front on it, and not trying to get too loose out of the corner is the hardest thing for me. I ventured down there a few times just to try to help the balance of the tire. So I was putting a lot of pressure on the right rear exiting four. So every once in a while, I would go back down to the bottom and just try to give that tire a break and use more of the right front. I don't know if that actually works or not, but it gives me a little it gives me a little comfort. Just kind
If
of
it
knowing
works
what
in
I
your
have.
head, it works on the racetrack, right? And
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
a pretty common, I agree with you tactic wise. I see you running the top, and every once in a while, if you run the bottom, use the tires differently, put the pressure on. What kind of tire wear did you guys see when you went in and swapped out for 4 fresh Goodyears?
I was somewhere in this between, depending on how long we ran. I was in the 60s or 70s. I was obviously wearing the right front more than the right rear, but you could just really, depending on what line you took, you can overheat a tire, and even though it's wearing better, um, you'll overheat it, and then it'll slip, and then you got to give it a lap or at least a corner, and you're going to be slow, so you got to give up even more time. So it's just not a good idea to overstep.
Well, it looked like a competitive race, and especially in that last stint when you guys were all running on top of each other, it looked like you had a good strategy of just holding the car, and then you drove out from them, and here we are talking to you with the top three finish. Congratulations on that strong run for the season. A bunch of different wins, one more to go. Maybe there's a win in your future there, and a second place finish, not too shabby here at Iowa. And good for you, Tommy. We appreciate you stopping by to talk to us. Anybody you want to say hello to? Give a shout out to?
Yeah, obviously the sponsors on the car all season, 811. So they've obviously coming back next year. I'm understanding they're not going to be sponsoring any cars right off, but it's been they were on my car for 2 years, and obviously I got a lot of interviews, and it's a great partnership. And I mean, I've heard of 811, but I didn't really know what they did, and obviously until they came in here. And now I understand all that stuff because I've definitely gone out and dug in the yard
Yeah.
before I called Now, now that I know the whole deal, it's a great program. And obviously, Northern Tool and Equipment, we got a lot of cool Christmas stuff going on. Cyber Monday. So get out there, order your shovels, and then call the number before you get outside.
There you go, Tommy Ryan. He is your second place finish here tonight. Great run tonight, Tommy. We'll see you next week at the season ending race as we turn it over to Chris, who's caught up with our winner.
Yes, Pedro Mojica, the winner here at the Iowa Speedway. Good job, Tommy, finishing there in the second position. I get things to cooperate with me here. There we go. Let's get him up here. As Pedro gets win number 10 of the season and pretty much has all but clinched the championship. But we're going to save that party for Vegas because it's Vegas, and that sounds like a better place to party than this part of Iowa. No offense to Iowa. There's just a lot of cornfields around this area right here. You kind of spoiled the party tonight, Pedro, by going out there and putting a whooping on them. It looked like at first that Tommy might give you a run for it at the end there, but you said, "All right, I'm going to go to fourth gear now," or is what's the line from Days of Thunder? I'm going to drop the hammer now. You pretty much did that at the end.
Yeah, Chris, unbelievable effort today. This was a wild card race. The last one, I think, out of the last two races that I was a little nervous about coming into, just because I didn't know what to expect. But there was a setup change for this track because the original setup came with iRacing. It was just almost undrivable. I mean, even the best of us, I think the practice race that I do with Goat, I mean, even the best of our group, we're spinning out and having a hard time racing with it. So Chad and Tyler and Joey, they went to work and gave us something that was a lot more drivable so we could actually race. So I appreciate them for that. But man, yeah, I can't believe it. Coming in, it's like, kind of didn't know what to expect. Luckily, the setup was, drivable, and we were able to kind of hone in on something in practice there with, master cylinders and brake bias and all that fun stuff. And yeah, we just went out and raced, man. And honestly, like, where I benefit the most is when these races go long and green flag runs. Like, that always seems to fall in my wheelhouse. If that happens, then we're really, really hard to beat. Unfortunately, we only had 3 yellows, and each of the runs, I think we went like 50 or so laps per run or something like that. So, it just fell in our wheelhouse, man. We had long green flag runs, had the track position as the track rubbered in, just did my best to keep it. We were able to do that, and then there at the end, I was trying to manage my stuff, and then when I saw Tommy get the second and kind of saw the laps were getting closer and closer to the end of the race, I picked up the pace so I could try to end this race sooner, and try to not have the dreaded yellow at the end. That was that was the one thing that was driving me nuts. So I was just trying to take it 10 laps at a time there at the end. But oh man, dude, it's unbelievable effort. I can't believe that we were able to win again. 3 out of the last 4.
Yeah.
So,
did you ever think at that part in June? I remember you uttering those words, "I need to win more." I remember you saying those words. I think it was before we went to Indianapolis, and from that point forward, you've just done exactly that.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd have to throw it back to the week that I missed back in August. I missed the Michigan race. Had family over, had my sister over, so I spent time with family, but I also took that opportunity to just take kind of a break from just the grind, right? The season's such a it's a long season, it's a grind, and before that break at Michigan, I don't think we even finished in the top 10. We had so many, like maybe one top 10 in the last 5 or 6 races before that. So we're just getting, it was just mentally draining because, you run so good and you're so fast and capable of winning all these races. And then one thing or another just was taking me out of those race wins, whether it was getting wrecked or getting in a wreck or just not on the right strategy. So I took a reset after Michigan and practically said, you know what, I'm just going to just take whatever it gives me. And man, I don't know what, but it's like just a little bit more relaxed mentality going into these races and just, saying whatever happens. We won 3 races in a row there in August, and then we had, won a race in the first round of the playoffs, and now we've won 3 out of the last 4. So, and I think since every race in Michigan, if you take out the super speedways, I think my worst finish was 4th.
Wow.
So it's just been an amazing run since that time. So I mean, yeah, I would say just taking that week off, man, that really was like a turning point in the season. Just the mindset change there. Just taking whatever it gave me, and it just, man, I've been given a lot. So I've been pretty fortunate, to be honest. Like, it's hard to do this week in and week out and be as competitive as I've been and capable of winning all these races. So it's just, just been lucky, to be honest. It's hard to string a bunch of finishes like this in racing.
Right.
So just happy that everything just gone our way this year towards the end at the right time.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations. And one more week left, and you can officially be the champion. But send some shouts whoever you like to.
Yeah, Chris and Kevin, appreciate you guys for putting on a broadcast at Captain Esports. Appreciate everything you do. You sound like you're getting over something, or you're a little sick, Chris, so hopefully you get better.
Down a
here
cylinder.
soon.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate NC811 for sponsoring this series and everything they do for the league. Glenn Campbell and Trans-Service Logistics, just, I wouldn't even be in this series if it wasn't for him. So everybody could blame him for me showing up on Mondays. But no, I mean, I appreciate Glenn. I'm glad to be representing his brand out here and representing it with a lot of wins and, hopefully a championship next week, as long as, no issues with anything. All the admins at Sim500, appreciate everything they do. All the guys on Team Name, we all work really well together. We've all ridden really fast all year, so just appreciate them and all the fun times we've had. And then, yeah, just appreciate the family for letting me come down and do this for a couple hours every Monday for the year. That's appreciate them and their patience with me with that.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations.
All right, I appreciate it.
Hey, too, buddy. Pedro Mojica, the winner tonight here in Iowa, as he gets his 10th win of the season. Kev, it's time for me to go relax. So we made it through the broadcast. I appreciate all your help. I know I'm going to say this right now. I couldn't even finish a sentence yesterday without breaking up in my voice. So to be able to sit here and be able to call a race with you tonight, and I'm very thankful that meds and stuff cooperated with me tonight. So definitely worked out.
Sound good to me, Chris.
Hey,
always glad to saddle up on a Monday night and bring it.
My best Tony Romo impersonation, I guess, if you will. You got that raspiness to his voice. So, hey, Kev, appreciate it, man. Go enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next week in Vegas.
Thank you.
All right, absolutely, my man. As appreciate everybody, Sim500, of course, NC811 for being a part of the series as a sponsorship. Congratulations to Pedro and everybody for racing here tonight. Great race to be a part of, as always. And remember, this isn't just a game, it's iRacing. See ya.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah.